Alright, you guys. Gonna go ahead and get started. Start off by saying Shalom. All praises to the Most High, the Higher. Hope everybody's having an Iraq Taiwan, which is a good evening. Tonight's lesson will be called Unplugging from the Matrix. Unplugging from the Matrix. So we're going to go over some things to show you how you're plugged into the Matrix. And then we're going to go into some precepts on what the Most High thinks about the Matrix. But how can you unplug yourself from the Matrix if you don't know what the Matrix is? So that's why tonight I wanted to go into it, to show people how you really do represent the Matrix and how you are plugged into it daily. And we're going to go over some scriptures on what you need to do to unplug yourself. Alright? So with that in mind, we'll go ahead and get started. First, I'm going to give you a definition for the word matrix. You have many of them out there, but I picked this one because it's dead on to what people are going through. So the definition for matrix is computer-generated dream world. Computer-generated dream world, but to keep us under control in order to change a human being into a battery. This is one of the definitions I picked up. So like I said, you can put in the word matrix, it'll bring up about 10 definitions. And I like this one because it's true. I'm going to read it again. Matrix. Computer-generated dream world, but to keep us under control in order to change a human being into a battery. So so through the Matrix, you're being transformed into resources. All right? So it's like the world is the Matrix, which is the beast, the system that we live in. It's one huge remote control that controls everything. And they are using you and I as batteries. And they're going to use you and use you and use you until they don't need you anymore. Okay? They don't care if you get sick or not. They'll recharge you. They'll recharge you until they decide to go get another pack. But you have to understand, you are a resource, a battery that helps that remote control continue to go. And everything's on the remote. Social media, Twitter, Facebook, Snapchat, basketball, football, Olympics, Mormon religion, Christian religion, Muslim religion. Everything's on this big old remote. And when they push that button, it goes to that station and it controls everything and everybody. Go to Google. And go to Google and put in world views, exiting, exiting, exiting the Greco-Roman matrix. Worldviews exiting, exiting, the Greco, Greco, Roman matrix. Did that pull up? All right. Let me see. Let me go to it real fast to see if that's the same thing I got.
What's the website?
Huh?
What's the website?
What I just said? It's worldviews exiting the Greco-Roman matrix. It should be the first link that you see when you go to it. Okay. I'm going to read it. Did you get it?
Is it WordPress.com?
Yes. And it reads, since the Pax Romana 30 BC through 200 AD and the Christianization of the Roman Empire 300 CAD, the Western world has been held captive by a particular worldview. So the Western world is talking about us here in America. It says the Western world has been held captive by a particular worldview or a subjective way of viewing the world. So it tells you that you have been held captive through a subjective way of viewing the world. So let's break that down. You have been held captive. Subjective. Subjective means you're in submission to something. So you've been held captive or a subjective way by viewing the world. So the way you view the world, you've been under submission, under captivity. Let's find out what it is. Others and oneself, namely Western civilization as we know it, has been strongly influenced by the Greco-Roman narrative of life. So it tells you that the way you view the world has been influenced by the Grecians and the Romans. And the way you view the world, and you've been held in captivity. So the way they taught you to view the world is a form of captivity. Everything from capitalism, colonialization, environmental destruction, mass slavery, socioeconomic disparity, religious supremacy, and individualism. You know, the good old things has its roots in Greco philosophy and Roman politics. Now is the time to shake off the blitz of conformity and challenge the system that has and still does justify oppression and exploitation. So it tells you that the system that we're part of, which is the matrix is the system that we're part of is from the philosophy of Greeks and the Romans. And they have you under subjection on how you view the world and how you do things, and through the subjection it's a mental captivity. All right. So your mind is in prison. Let's go to Isaiah 61:1. Your mind is in prison. So yet physically they had slavery here in America and other parts of the world. And then they got rid of the physical slavery. We still go through physical slavery when you get up and go to work all types of hours, overtime. So you're still in physical slavery, but you don't feel like you're in slavery because they give you a paycheck at the end of the week. So you feel like you're doing something and it's not slavery. But mentally, what we just read in this Google article tells you that your mind is in subjection to the Grecians and the Romans' old ways. Isaiah 61:1 reads, "The Spirit of the Most High Power is upon me, because the Most High had anointed me to preach good tidings unto the meek. He has sent me to bind up the brokenhearted, to proclaim liberty to the captives, and the opening of the prison to them that are bound." So, majority of us here in this world are in prison. We are bound in this system. The system has us mentally occupied in prison. So the Most High has sent someone like me to teach you the truth, to show you what's going on, to proclaim liberty to you guys, and to open up those prisons that you are bound in. And when I bring lessons like these and give you information, it's opening up the prison to show you what's going on so you can bring yourself out of mental captivity. So the matrix is a system that we live in. And you have tens of millions of Americans who work incredibly hard but come home with nothing every week or every 2 weeks because they're living check to check. Tens and tens of millions of Americans that work hard and hard and hard. And then at the end of the day, when they get their check, they got to pay this, they got to pay this, they got to pay this and pay this. And by the time it's all said and done, they have nothing. And by the time it's all said and done, they're looking at their money like, man, how am I going to survive into the next check? How am I going to pay for food? How am I going to pay for gas? How am I going to make it to the next check? So the system we live in, the matrix, is a mental prison. You're working hard for these investors, these bankers, these people that invest, these bankers, and these are the individuals. Stop playing. Sit down or go in the room. These investors or these bankers, these are the ones that are walking away with all the money off your hard work while you're struggling from paycheck to paycheck. And they are the ones that's walking into the sunset with tens and tens of millions of dollars while we struggle. So consider this. What if the economy broke down right now? Straight meltdown right now. Who caused the economy to melt? Not you and I, but guess who will pay for it? Us. We are the ones that they will point the finger at. Instead of pointing the finger at them, if the economy melted right now tomorrow, they'll point the finger at you and I. So, but the question is, though, is how is it that you work so hard and have nothing? And how is it that you're broke and you was a millionaire at birth? People don't even understand. He's like, you're broke and you was a millionaire at birth. Let me show you how you was a millionaire at birth. Go to this website. It's http semicolon / boards BOARDS dot straight dope STRAIGHT straight dope one word .com / SDMB / show thread SHOW THREAD .php. Did that pull up? Maybe I can give you as .php question mark T equal sign 757281. I'll read it again. HTTP semicolon / boards dot straight dope STRAIGHTDOPE.com /SDMB /show thread SHOWTHREAD .php question mark T small t equal sign 757281. Did it pull up? Anybody in the room? I go for y'all confirmation to make sure everybody online. Anybody online? Did you find that? Yeah? Okay. Let me see. Let me put it in. All right, here. Put this in. Put in my birth certificate. My birth certificate bond is worth millions. My birth certificate bond is worth millions. From Straight Dope Boards, straightdope.com. Now did that pull up? All right, I'm going to read it. So go to the word it says quote. First quote. It says, when you are born, your parents register you as a corporation by receiving and signing a birth certificate. Let me read it again. Are you guys there? When you are born, your parents register you as a corporation by receiving and signing a birth certificate. So the moment you sign a birth certificate for your child, you sign your child up as a corporation. In a few years, your corporation will receive a taxpayer ID number called a Social Security number. So the Social Security number you get is your tax ID number for your corporation. This is so you can be used as collateral for the government to acquire debt. What's the debt? We're going to talk about that in a minute. So you are used as collateral so the government can require money off of you, which puts your corporation in debt. That's right. You and your labor, time, and energy is what backs up the national debt. You are stock. So it tells you right here, you, your time, your labor, what you do as work takes care of the national debt. Go down to the second quote. Quote, your birth certificate bond is worth millions. When your birth certificate was monetized and converted into a United States government bond shortly after your birth by your mother, your net worth became unlimited into billions of dollars without your nor your mother's and father's knowledge. When the United States declared bankruptcy in 1933 under the bankruptcy straw man, and a lot of you guys, I gave y'all the video to watch on this. All right, I gave y'all the videos. It says under the bankruptcy straw man law known as HJR 192 pledge all Americans as collateral, debt slaves, against the national debt to the international bankers. So it tells you that through your birth certificate, you became a corporation, and you take care of the national debt that the international bankers paid to the Americans. Land to the international bankers, Federal Reserve Corporation, and confiscated and outlawed all the gold except for 1 ounce for each person, thus eliminating the lawful means, gold and silver coins, by which you could legally pay your debt. The United States also assumed legal responsibility for providing a new way for you to pay. So what this is saying is that once you sign the birth certificate, they send it overseas to the international banks. The international banks then give America so much money for your birth certificate. And then America back then in this deal in 1933 told the international banks, because the international banks said, well, if we give you so much money per birth certificate, how are you going to pay it off? And then America said, well, our people, our stock, they'll work it off through their jobs, through the clothes they buy, everything they do, through their lifetime, they will pay back this debt, paying their taxes, everything. I'm 38 years old, and I guarantee you I'd have spent $1 million in my lifetime on everything I bought, things I done for people, everything. $1 million has come from me. So they was in line when they said they're going to pay it back. All right? But you don't realize that you haven't received none of this money that they're receiving. All right? Let's go down to the bottom where it says, in 1933, the United States government declared that they would pay all your debts with the money they received from your birth certificate, and Social Security registered number by what is known as your reserve account worth billions. The United States corporation government did that by providing what is known as an exemption account. The bankers loan credit and not money, because there has not been any lawful money since June 5th, 1933. The exemption account is your exemption from having to pay anything. In practical terms, though, this meant giving each American something to pay with, and that something is your credit. This secret has been hidden for over 79 years. Your value to society was then and is still calculated using actuarial tables at birth. Average value bonds were created from your birth certificate. I understand that this is currently between $1 and $2 million at your birth when your mother unknowingly gave her baby you away to the United States government. So when you sign the birth certificate, the kid is not yours. So at any given moment, if the government want to come and say, give me my baby, the baby is theirs. And what you gonna say? Nah. And all they gonna do is pull out the birth certificate and say, whose signature is that at the bottom? It's the doctor's. Well, yeah, but my name is right there. They don't care. You signed your baby away when you did the birth certificate. These birth certificate bonds were collateralized by your birth certificate and your mother's maiden name under the Act of Congress in 1921. So that's why your mother's maiden name is on there, your father's maiden name. Then your birth certificate bond became a negotiable instrument, just like any securities instrument under UCC Article 3, Code of Commercial Law, in which the world trade falls under. The bonds are hypothecated and traded on the stock market until their value is unlimited for all intents and purpose. People all over the world buy and sell your bond every day over the stock markets in investments. All that credited is technically and rightfully yours. But they aren't going to tell you that. All that money they're making off your Social Security number is technically yours. In point of fact, You should be able to go into any store in America and buy anything and everything in sight, telling the clerk to charge it to your exemption account, which is identified by a 9-digit number that you will recognize as your social security number without dashes. It is your EIN, which stands for Exemptions Identification Number from the United States Corporation of America. So, how is it that people are struggling paycheck to paycheck and you got a corporation that's in the stock market that's making millions of dollars yearly? But this is how you're plugged into the matrix. That's why tonight's lesson is unplugging yourself from the matrix. This is how you're plugged into a system that you slave in and don't get nothing back.
So just so you know, you don't have to sign a birth certificate.
I know you don't. You don't have to sign a birth certificate in a doctor.
As long as you
In a hospital.
are in the hospital.
The hospital forces you to sign a birth certificate. Why? Because they get $300 per birth certificate. The moment they come in, sign it, sign it, sign it, sign it, and then you sign it, they send it to the Federal Reserve, and they get. And the moment the Federal Reserve receives it, they get $300. So that's a lot of money for the hospital sending off all them birth certificates. That's why they're so pushy. Let's go to Jeremiah 2 and 14. Jeremiah 2 and 14. So like I say, you're a human resource. You're a battery that's just plugged into this system that they got going. It's a monetary gain. Alright? Jeremiah 2 and 14 reads, is Israel a servant? Is he a homeborn slave? Why is he spoiled? So to tell you, Israel, which is us, we are homeborn slaves. Still to this day. Right now, as we live, right now as we speak, you are a home-born slave. We're servants. And we're supposed to be home-born slaves to the Most High, Ahia. We're servants to Him. But America has taken that and made you a servant to them and a home-born slave to America. We're supposed to be home-born slaves to Ahia. But that's not the case today. People are waking up and they're serving the system rather than serving Ahia. So your commodity, when you become a servant to them, when you become a slave to them, you become commodity. You're an item. Like I say, you're a resource. Let's go to Revelations 18 and 11. You're a resource. They don't care about you. You're just like the merchandise that's in the stores on the shelves. You're just like that. You've been bought. You've been bought with a high dollar amount and don't even know it. You was bought the moment your parents signed that birth certificate. High dollar amount. Bigger than cars, bigger than houses. You're worth more than the house. You're worth more than the car and don't even know it. You're worth more than the house, 3 cars, and everything in the house put together. Revelations 18 and 11. And the merchants of the earth shall weep and mourn over her, for no man buyeth their merchandise anymore. So this is talking about once America, which is Babylon, goes down. It says no man will be able to buy merchandise anymore. Let's find out what the merchandise is. The merchandise of gold and silver and precious stones and of pearls and fine linen and purple and silk and scarlet and all thine wood and all manner of vessels of ivory and all manner of vessels of most precious wood and of brass and iron and marble. So this is all the merchandise that will not be bought no more. And cinnamon and odors and ointments and frankincense and wine and oil and fine flour and wheat and beasts and sheep and horses and chariots and slaves and souls of men. So America knows they have you as a slave, and they know they have your soul in a mental prison. Your soul is in a mental prison. As long as you're plugged into this matrix, and as long as you're getting up and doing everything that they put out there for you to do, your soul is included in this merchandise that they have bought. They have bought your soul for a price and made you a slave. So you are a homeborn servant, a homeborn slave to America. And I don't care how you look at it. So many people like, I'm not, they haven't taken my soul. I live good. I do this, I do that. I got a good job. Come on, idiot. Just because you got a good job and just because you got a nice car does not mean you are not a servant to America. You are a part of these resources to keep this machine going. Since you're doing so good, don't go to work for a week and don't call in and see what happens. They're going to unplug you from the matrix and struggle you out. You're going to struggle. People need the matrix to survive. That's what they think. But that's what America's taught you. You need this system to survive, but you really don't. You need a higher. Plug back into this King James Bible and get all the things you need from the Most High Higher. All right. So mentally you're a slave, and they keep you enslaved through the media. They keep you enslaved through the social networks. They keep you enslaved through the TV shows. They keep you enslaved through sports. They keep you enslaved through religions. All those. That's why they got so many different things when it comes to social media. I don't even know half of them no more. I don't even know them. First it was MySpace. It was probably something before MySpace that we really don't know about. But MySpace was the first big thing that had everybody going. Then it became Facebook. Then it became Twitter. Then it became Instagram. Now they got Snapchat or Snapchat or something. And all these other things that you can get on. You got these phones nowadays that got over 100 apps that you can click on and do things with people. Skype, all kind of stuff. So all these things is social networks. All these different sports that has your spirit tied up. Like I say, mental enslavement. People go crazy for these sports. They lose their mind, painting faces and buying all these clothing and hats and things after these teams, and then the religions got people tied up. All right, the religions really got people tied up. Let's go back to Google, and let's go to. Let me see if I can make it a little easier. Let's go to. It's called slavery dash history engine dash University of Richmond. Slavery dash history engine dash University of Richmond. Did y'all get that? All right. So like I say, your spirit is tied up, which is mentally enslavement through media, social networks, TV shows, sports, and religion. And we're going to start off with religion, how your spirit is still tied up. This article is from September 29th, 1835. And it reads, slave owners had many justifications for why holding people in bondage was acceptable. So slave masters had many reasons on why slavery was acceptable. From the idea that African Americans were a lesser race who needed taken care of by white patriarchs to the economic justifications. Slave owners were always trying to find new ways to dispute those who disagreed with their choice to hold others in captivity. So it says slave owners always, when somebody confronted them that slavery was bad, they always came up with another reason why it was okay. Charleston slaveholders were no exception in attempting to find justification to mask their guilt. Often, religion came into play. So it tells you through slavery, often religion came into play. On both slavery and anti-slavery sides of the debate. In 1835, at the end of 2 long articles about religion and slavery in the Charleston Mercury, it was said that both the Old and New Testament give permission to hold others as slaves. In the Old Testament, God and the patriarchs approved. And for the New Testament, Jesus, what they call, and the apostles show that slavery is permissible. Therefore, slavery to those who wrote the article was not an anti-Christian institution. It was just the opposite. Furthermore, they added, it is impious to say slavery is anti-Christian because such a conclusion contradicted God. Paragraph 2. Such extremist beliefs were common in the anti-slavery debate. Slaveholders believed that slavery would liberate Africans from their savage-like ways. So it tells you that slavery was a way to take Judah away from their savage-like ways. That's what they called them. Especially if they were infused with Christianity. Let me read it again for some people that don't understand what that's saying. Slaveholders believed that slavery would liberate the Africans, which is Judah, so-called Africans, from their savage-like ways, especially if they were infused with Christianity. So it says the slave master said, all right, we can change these people from their ways if we infuse them with Christianity. So this right here, just through this article, lets you know Christianity has nothing to do with the true people of the Bible, which is Israel. The slave masters pumped that religion on our people and told them this will change you from your ways, and this is your mental enslavement. This is your mental enslavement through this captivity. So through the mental block, they taught them Christianity. As religion ran deep through slavery, white Christian slaveholders, which is master, white Christian slaveholders argued that slavery was a necessary evil because it would control the sinful, less humane black race. Slave owners beginning in 1830s began to permit black religious gatherings in some forms. In addition, Charleston slaves and free blacks were allowed to attend church with their owners. However, so these are the Christian churches that are predominantly black nowadays. And back then, you couldn't even go to the church, the Christian church, without master. However, previous slave revolts like Virginia's Nate Turner caused worry that religion would make slaves think they had the right to be free. Turner experienced religious visions that caused him to believe that the revolt was divinely ordained. Slaves allowed by their masters to worship were closely monitored thereafter. So it tells you that master kept a close eye on how you worship. And if you was worshiping anything outside this Christian religion that they pumped on you, you was going to get taken down. Let's go to Hosea 4 and 6. But our people don't know this stuff. Our people don't have a clue. And majority of our people, which is Judah, are Christians. And you try to go tell them, hey, you know, master, that was master's religion. That wasn't our religion. They pumped the slave masters were Christians. And the Christians are the ones that were taking you off the slave ship. You try to tell them that, they're going to argue up and down with you. And then you turn around and be like, well, have you ever did any research on the Christian religion? No. So how are you going to argue with me then if they were the slave masters were Christians or not? Hosea 4:6 reads, my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. So our people were destroyed of lack of knowledge through this mental block right here. When they was in slavery, the Christian religion and all these other things was pumped on them, so they were destroyed for lack of knowledge. Because thou hast rejected knowledge. And still to this day, our people are destroyed for lack of knowledge because they reject the knowledge that you and I that have woken up try to go give these people. I will also reject thee. Ahia says, I will also reject thee, that thou shalt be no priest to me, seeing thou hast forgotten the law of the Most High. I will also forget thy children. Their knowledge came from master. Hosea 4:12. How do we know the knowledge came from master? My people ask counsel at their stock. So my people ask counsel at their stock. So at their stock, people went to master and said, hey, can you teach me something? Can you teach me the real? Can you give me instruction? That's what counsel is. Can you give me instruction? My people asked counsel at their stocks, which is slavery, and their staff, master, declared unto them, for the spirit of whoredoms had caused them to err, and they have gone a horn from under their power. So when people went to master and say, hey, can you teach me how to read? Hey, can you teach me how to write? Can you teach me this? Master taught them the spirit of the whoredoms, taught them the spirit of the Christians, taught them the spirits of Americans, and caused them to err and pulled them completely away from the Most High, Ahia. So when you look at it now, they got you tapped into the matrix. They already making money off of you from birth, from your birth certificate, making billions from you. You're a corporation. All right? And then from day one, they got you geared into these religions. The same religions that they took your forefathers and my forefathers and mothers through, drug them through HELL and slavery and pumped this religion in their head and taught them how to go away from the Most High. So now, that's religion. Now, we're going to talk about how sports have people slaved mentally. How sports have people enslaved mentally. So go back to Google. And go to it's called The Pagan Origins of the Olympic Games. paganwiccan.about.com. Did that come up? The Pagan Origins of the Olympic Games. Anybody else? Anybody get that in here? All right. And to go to that article and go down to where it says honoring Zeus. Honoring Zeus. And it says, for the citizens of Greece, the Olympics were a time of great religious celebrations. So the Olympics was a great time for religious celebration. So it tells you that the religions that they follow, which is Christianity, was tied into the Olympics. Athletic events were mixed in with sacrifices, rituals, and prayer, as well as great feasting and revelry. So what does it mean? It says athletic events were mixed with sacrifices, rituals, and prayer. This is why when you see these athletes score touchdowns and do different things, what do? They get on their knee and they look up, they do all that cross sign in their chest and act like they praying, like thank you, and they're praying to the sports gods, the Greek gods. They're praying to the sports gods for their athleticism, for their power. That's who they're praying to. So when you see them athletes on the field, kissing their chains, crossing their hearts with, crossing their chest with like the heart, the cross signs and all this other stuff, this is what they're doing. For over 1,000 years, the games were held every 4 years, which made them not only the longest running athletic event in history, but also one of the longest running regular religious observations. So it's a religious observation. But now, they don't wait on the Olympics. Now they got yearly sports, season-long sports, annual sports that they come in. So instead of waiting 4 years for the Olympics, they got basketball season now, hockey season, baseball, football, volleyball, everything. Everything to keep you occupied. And you watch these same athletes do these same rituals. Second paragraph. The games were originally held in honor of Zeus, king of the Olympians. So it tells you that these games, through these sports, still to this day, is held in the honor of Zeus. The very first games consisted of only one athletic event. It was a foot race. So that was the track and field. That was the first event, which was won by a cook named Carobias. Athletes made regular sacrifices to Zeus, typically pigs, sheep, but other animals would do as well, in hopes that he would recognize them and honor them for their skill and talents. All right, so you still see this going on, you guys. These athletes make sacrifices to these gods, these sports gods, so the sports gods can recognize them and honor them for their skill and talents. During opening ceremonies, athletes lined up before the giant statue of Zeus holding a thunderbolt and swore an oath to him in his temple at Olympia. What do the athletes do today? They line up and honor what? The flag, which is still the same thing. It's still the same ritual. Listen, it don't have to be Zeus. It's the same ritual. In every sport today in America, they line up, they bring the flag down, and they swear an oath. What's the oath? The Pledge of Allegiance. It's all here. That's what they're doing at the beginning of the game when these teams line up and put their hands on their heart and sing this song. It's a swear of an oath to Zeus to bring in their skills and this talent for this game. Pull out the Apocrypha. Yeah, y'all can think I'm crazy all y'all want. People like, he looking too much into it. It's right here. I don't care how you look at it. So many people love sports so much that they can't pull themselves, they can't unplug themselves from the matrix just for 1 second to see how pagan this stuff is. And then so many people gonna watch this and be like, well, singing the Pledge of Allegiance is not doing the same thing to sacrifice to Zeus. Yes, it is. Let me read it again. Apocrypha, 2 Maccabees 4:7, while you find it. It says, in hopes that Zeus would recognize them and honor them for their skill and talents, during opening ceremonies, athletes lined up before a giant statue. So athletes lined up before a giant flag and swore an oath to him and sung the Pledge of Allegiance to him. 2 Maccabees 4:7 reads, but after the death of Seleucus, when Antiochus, called Epiphanes, took the kingdom, Jason, the brother of Onias, labored underhand to be high priest, promising unto the king by intercession 360 talents of silver, and of other renewed 8 talents. So when this guy was made high priest, he promised the king by intercession that he was going to bring in 303 score talents of silver. 303 score talents is people. I'm going to bring in 303 score talents of silver athletes. All right. Verse 9. 2 Maccabees 4 and 9. Besides this, he promised to assign 150 more, if he might have license to set him up a place for exercise and for the training up of youth in the fashions of the heathen, and to write them of Jerusalem Antiochus. So it says that he says, hey, give me a license to set up a place of exercise and a place to train up the youth after the fashions of the heathens. What's the fashion of the heathens? Let's read it. Verse 10, which when the king had granted, and he had gotten into his hand to rule, he forthwith brought his own nation to the Greekish fashions. So the Greekish fashions is the fashions of the heathens, which is these sports, which is setting up a place for exercise and training the youth up to play sports. These are the fashions of the heathens, which is Greekish fashions. Verse 11. And the royal privileges granted of special favor to the Jews by the means of John, the father of Epolymus, who went ambassador to Rome for immediate and aid, he took away and putting down the governments which were according to the law, he brought up new customs against the law. So it tells you that they brought up new customs against the laws of the Jews. What was these new customs? These sports. These new customs, these sports, was against the laws of the Jews. Verse 12. For he built gladly. He built this place of exercise gladly. Alright. For he built gladly a place of exercise under the tower itself, and brought the chief young men under his subjection, and made them wear a hat. Alright. So we was not to be wearing hats. So against our laws, they made these young men wear hats. Now such was the height of Greek fashions, and increase of heathenism manners, through the exceeding profanes of Jason, that ungodly wretch, and had and no high priest, that the priest had no courage to serve any more at the altar, but despising the temple and neglecting the sacrifices, hasted, which means ran fast, to be partakers of the unlawful allowance in the place of exercise after the games of discus called them forth. So it tells you that the place of exercise was an unlawful thing, which is these sports. These sports that they do now was an unlawful thing. Verse 15. 2 Maccabees chapter 4 verse 15. Not setting by the honors of their fathers, but liking the glory of the Grecians best of all. So it tells you that they loved the glories of the Grecians, by reason whereof sore calamity came upon them, for they had them to be their enemies and avengers, whose custom they followed so earnestly, and unto whom they desired to be like in all things. So our people wanted to be like the Grecians. In the Western world that we live in today, want to be like these Grecians. Follow the customs of these people. Follow the traditions of these people. And that's what we have going on. Alright? Let's go to 1 Corinthians 3 and 18. So the government is using you in so many ways to operate the matrix. To keep the matrix going, the government is using you in so many ways, and you don't even realize it. Sports in America is a multi-million dollar industry. They make so much money off these sports in America due to you being plugged in and supporting it. All right? All the gear you buy, all the things you do is help and support these Greekish fashion ways. Fashions of the heathen. 1 Corinthians 3:18 reads, "Let no man deceive himself. If any man among you seemeth to be wise in this world, let him become a fool, that he may be wise. For the wisdom of this world is foolishness with the Most High, for it is written, He taketh the wise in their own craftiness." Let's break down the word craftiness. Craftiness is G 3834. G 3834. And it's Panargia. Panargia. P-A-N-O-U-R-G-I-A. Panargia. And it's adrottness. Adrottness. That is a bad sense. Trickery. So craftiness is adrottness or trickery. The word adrottness in the Webster is dexterity, readiness in the use of the mental faculties. Dexterity. So let's break down dexterity first in the Webster. Dexterity is expertness. So an expert, skill, performing an action. So dexterity. So it tells you that basically adrottness is dexterity of the mental state. So these people are experts in controlling your mental state. Through what? Trickery. That's basically what we just read. So through the trickery of this world, these people are crafty. They are experts at mentally tricking you into doing what they want you to do. Verse 20. 1 Corinthians chapter 3 verse 20. "And again, the Most High knoweth the thoughts of the wise, that they are vain." So these people are very vain through their thoughts, through these sports, through these things that they have brought upon us. These people are very vain. They've tricked you mentally into worshiping their system. And you don't even realize that you're worshiping their system every time you step out and do something. Revelations 13:4. You don't even realize that the beast, which is their system, which is the matrix, you're worshiping every time you turn on them sports and worship the sports and go buy a shirt, a Cardinals hat, a Cardinals shirt. Your Cardinals out. Cardinals license plate. Everything's Cardinal. Worshiping the system. Every time you go to that church, worshiping that Christian religion, you're worshiping their system. Revelations 13:4 reads, "And they worship the dragon, which gave power unto the beast. And they worship the beast, saying, Who is like unto the beast? Who is able to make war with him?" So they worship the dragon. Who is the dragon? Satan. So when you worshiping the beast, Satan is now your power. Whether you realize it or not. As long as you're plugged into the matrix, and as long as you're worshiping the beast, which is the system, you're worshiping the dragon, which is Satan. Because now you're following Satan's laws. Now you're following Satan's rules. So every time you go out and buy that Cardinals hat, you're giving Satan power. Let me read it again. And they worshiped the dragon, which gave power unto the beast. So you're giving power unto this beast every time you worship Satan. Verse 7. Skip down to verse 7. Revelations 13 and 7. And it was given unto him to make war with the saints. Who are the saints? The true people of the Bible, Israel. And not only Israel, but the Gentiles who decide to wake up and be a part of this. The true saints. And they made war with the saints. How did they make war with the saints? By putting this system out there and having you follow it. And having you be part of it. So as long as you're plugged into the matrix, you are in a war. And you're losing the war. Because why? You're not in control of nothing. So mentally and physically, they are wearing you out. And it was given unto him to make war with the saints. And to overcome them. So they overcome us mentally. And power was given him over all kindreds and tongues and nations. And all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him, whose names are not written in the book of life of the Lamb slain from the foundation of the world. So it tells you everybody that dwells on this earth worships the beast. Whether you realize you worship it or not. Everybody that dwells on this earth worships the beast through this system. Through the matrix. Through the matrix. And through all these things we're talking about tonight. You worship the beast. Verse 14. Revelation chapter 13 verse 14. And deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast. Saying to them that dwell on the earth, that they should make an image to the beast, which had the wound by a sword and did live. So it says, so the beast has deceived them that dwell on the earth. So everybody's been deceived through everything that's happening through the matrix. The American dream. The American dream that they sold to you and told you, you go work hard and you can become this and you can do this. You've been deceived through this dream, because now through that hard working and sacrificing your life through that job and working hard for the system, you sold your soul to Satan. And through that, Satan has showed you some miracles. All right, so Satan said, all right, work hard for me, sacrifice for me, and then I'm going to give you a couple of dollars. I'm going to give you a car. So that's like miracles. He's like, oh yeah, man, that was a miracle. That happened because of my job. Let's read it again. And deceive them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast. So it tells you that Satan has power to bring on miracles that you think you're receiving from the Most High. And as long as you're working through this system, you're receiving those miracles through the beast. So you have to understand, who created Twitter? Who created Snapchat? Who created Instagram, Facebook? Who created all these things? Man. Let's go to Galatians 4 and 3. The Most High didn't put that stuff there for us, because it would be in the King James Bible that says, hey, go get on the website and Twitter your mom. Or go Skype. You know, none of that stuff is in the scriptures. All these things are elements of the world. All these things, Facebook, Instagram, all these things are elements of the world. Galatians 4 and 3 reads, even so we, when we were children, were in bondage under the elements of this world. So it says right here, when we were children, we're in bondage under the elements of this world. So you're in the matrix. Bondage is the matrix. You're enslaved into the matrix. And as long as you're in the matrix, you're under the elements of this world. The elements of this world is the Facebook, the Instagram, the chat book, all these things. Even your computer, every time you log into your computer. Even your TV, every time you log into your TV, get on your TV. Your phone. All these things are elements of the matrix. And as long as you're part of these elements, you are in bondage to this world. So if you're in bondage to this world, how can you receive salvation? You have to be in bondage to the Most High, Ahaya, as servant to Yeshaya. And once you get that right, now you can receive salvation, so you can see the new heaven, to where you'll be in bondage to the new heaven. You'll be a servant to the new heaven because you follow the laws and the commandments. So now you're in bondage. All right, let me put it like this. Whatever laws and commandments you follow, that's what you're in bondage to. So if you follow the laws and the commandments of the Most High, Ahaya, you're in bondage to Him. But if you follow the laws and the commandments to this world and do what this world has to offer, you're in bondage to this world. So we have to unplug ourselves. What's unplugging ourselves? Taking the red pill. The red pill is truth. That's what the red pill is. You have to take the red pill to unplug yourself from the matrix. And the red pill is this truth. Go to John 8:32. Let me show you how the red pill is this truth that you need to unplug yourself from the matrix. Now, if you have a real King James Bible, John's 8:32 is written in what? That's your red pill. John's 8:32 is written in red. Every time you hear Yeshaya speaks in this Bible, he's in red, right? He's the red pill. You need the red pill to unplug, which is Yeshaya. Let's read it. John 8:32. And ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. So the red pill is the truth. So once you take the red pill, you'll start unplugging yourself from all the things. Because now you're reading the Bible and you're learning, and now you're following the laws and the commands of the Most High. Then you'll realize, why am I on Facebook every day, all day like this? That's stupid. Snapchat, Twitter, what am I doing? Is it T-bowing or T-voing? I'm going to TiVo my favorite shows. So, what are we doing? But once you get into the truth, you realize that TiVoing and favorite shows you can't wait to get to, because all these shows ain't nothing but drama anyway. And through these shows, it's teaching you how to be Babylonian. And it's teaching you how to be haughty towards the Most High. Especially women, these shows y'all be liking to watch. Them women shows. What are they called? Wives of New York, and football wives and basketball wives and all these wives shows, and these women are haughty. They're retarded. And y'all sitting there glued. And they teaching you how to be haughty towards your man, which is haughty towards the Most High. Get the truth, 10 commandments, law, statutes, and it'll show you how to get away from that. John 17:9. So John 8:2 says, and ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. The truth is going to set you free from the matrix. This is how you unplug. People say, well, how do I unplug? You unplug by taking this red pill. And you take it every day. Every day. It's not this. See, this red pill is just not a one-day dosage. This is like your everyday vitamin right here. You get up and you take this red pill. John 17:9 reads, I pray for them. I pray not for the world. Let me read it again. Yahshua says, which is the Messiah, I pray for them. He prays for us, his chosen people. I pray not for the world. So for people that like breaking out John 3:16, for God so loved the world, he gave us, no. The Most High don't care about this world, and neither did Yeshaya. I pray for them. I pray not for the world, but for them which thou hast given me. So those people that you have given me, those people that have woken up, for they are thine. And all mine are thine, and thine are mine, and I am glorified in them. And now I am no more in the world, but these are in the world. So Yeshaya says, I'm no longer in the world, but my people are in the world, and I come to thee. Holy Father, keep through thine own name those whom thou hast given me, that they may be one as we are. So Yeshaya, once he was taken out of this world, went to the Holy Father and says, hey, keep mine what you've given me, that's part of that world. Keep them out of trouble, basically. Keep them from out of that matrix. That's a cold medley down there where they living at. It's a cold place. I was there. I seen it. So keep them from out of that. All right. Verse 12. John chapter 17, verse 12. While I was with them in the world, I kept them in thy name. So I kept them in my name, in your name, when I was in the world. I made sure they followed me through you. Those that thou givest me I have kept, and none of them is lost, but the son of perdition, which is Satan, that the scripture might be fulfilled. And now come I to thee, and these things I speak in the world, that they might have my joy fulfilled in themselves. I have given them thy word, and the world hated them, because they are not of the world, even as I am not of the world. So he says, hey, I've given them the red pill. And when I gave them the red pill, which is this word, which is this truth, the world hated them. The word is the truth. So in John 8:32, it says, the truth shall set you free, and you shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. Well, what's the truth? The truth is this word, which is the red pill. And he says, I have given them the word, and the world hated them. Verse 15. John chapter 17, verse 15. I pray not that thou shouldest take them out of the world, but that thou shouldest keep them from the evil. So it says, I pray not that thou should take it them. So don't take them from the world. Let them still live. Because if you take them from the world, they no longer live. Let them live, but that thou should keepest them from evil, which is the matrix. They are not of the world, even as I am not of the world. Sanctify them through thy truth. Thy word is truth. So it tells you right here, the word is the truth. Sanctify them through thy truth. Thy word is the truth. So the words of Yasha, which is the Messiah, is this truth. This is the red pill you need to unplug yourself. When you learn the ways of the Messiah, you learn the laws, statutes, and commandments, you're unplugging yourself from the matrix. Because once you learn these ways, you're going to realize the ways that America has taught you is the American dream. The ways that America has taught you is fun and social. You're going to realize that ain't me. That ain't what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm not going to spend 18 hours of my day on Facebook. And then I'm going to spend the other 6 hours watching TV shows. So you spend 18 hours on your computer, whether it's Facebook, Twitter, all this other stuff, and then the other 6 hours you're watching your TV shows. But once you start following the ways in this word, you'll realize that that's wrong. Romans 6:22. You'll start pulling yourself away from it. And that's what we need to do. That's why I wanted to go over this tonight, because we need to pull ourselves out of the matrix. The only way we're going to make it out of America, so for so many people that know the truth and knows we have to flee, the only way you're going to be able to flee from out of America is by unplugging yourself now. You're not going to be able to still be plugged in, doing everything, and then it's time to leave, and then you're going to leave. No, you're going to be so plugged in still to where you can't leave. You have to slowly but surely unplug, get up out of there. And then that way when it's time to go, you're so far away from these customs and traditions of man that you cannot wait to leave. All right? You cannot wait to leave. But if you're plugged in and you're still following all these customs and all these traditions, you ain't gonna never want to leave. Because you're always gonna say, well, there's nothing like America. Who can make war with the beast? America's the best. Everything's here. Why go somewhere else when it's gonna be bad as this? But when you unplug yourself, then you realize, that's all bad for my spirit. I no longer want to keep my spirit tied up, so I'm going to start unplugging from these things. And the more you unplug from, the more you're going to want to leave. Romans 6:22 reads, but now being made free from sin and became servants to a higher, ye have your fruit unto holiness and the end everlasting life. So it tells you, once you become a servant to the Most High, and you are no longer a servant to the matrix. Let me explain to you again. You are a servant to the matrix as long as you wake up every morning, hustling, bustling, trying to get to work, trying to pay your bills, trying to do this, buying all these expensive clothes, buying all these things for your house. You're a servant because now you're supporting the matrix. That's what the matrix wants you to do. The matrix wants you to go, work hard, overtime, spend all your time at work, get a check, and then go spend the whole check back into the matrix. That's how the system keeps going. And by the time you work, get money, pay your bills, and then go spend the rest of it on materialistic things, that equals slavery. Because you're like, hey, I don't even got nothing. I just gave them all my money back. And all the money going right back to the system. Got to look at it, you guys. You got to see how you are serving them and not the Most High. Let me read it again. Romans 6:22. But now being made free from sin. So now that you've been made free from sin, your sin is all the social network, all these sporting events that you're going crazy over, the religions, and became servants to the Most High. Ye have your fruit unto holiness and the end everlasting life. All right. And then, by the way, all these social networks, you got to give all your information to become part of that social network. So now they have all your information. And the government is using all that information to help operate the system, the machine. Don't you know by the time it's all time is said and done for New World Order, you ain't going to be able to run or go high because they got everything they need on you? They know who your brother is. They know who your sister is. They know who your best friend is. They know who your 4th grade teacher was. They know everything about you. So there ain't much you can do. Snowden already told us that they got our phones tapped. Snowden already told us that any given time they want to, they can tap into your phone and get any information off your phone. Right now, today. The government is like, who's this Ed Love dude? Who is this Shia Mawan Ahab on YouTube? Let me go on there and check his phone records. They go on there and just check everything they want off my phone. So really though, this device, you trust it? And we continue to do things on it that we have no reason in doing. You have to understand, in their eyes, there's no delete button. Just because I can delete it from your eyes, and just because you can delete it from her eyes, there's no delete button when it comes to the government. Everything you do on these phones, on these computers, on these tablets, everything you do, there's no delete button. Regardless if you delete it or not, they still have access to it. Remember that. So start taking in consideration the things that you're doing on these devices. Don't say nothing that's that important to your sister. Hey, I'm going to see my sister tomorrow. I'll just tell her in person. That's what they had to do back in the day. They didn't have technology to send to each other and all this stuff. They waited until they seen the individual, wrote it down so they didn't forget. And then when they seen them, hey, I got, oh yeah. Like, hey, you got a list for me? Yeah, I got a list. Hey, I've been wanting to talk to you all week. Write a list. Stop incriminating yourself on these devices. Alright? So like I said earlier, the government is using you to operate their system. You are part of the machine. So every time you use that phone, every time you turn on the TV, every time you use the computer, every time you clock in at work, you are part of the matrix. And this machine is man-made. Alright? Everything about it is man-made. Let's go to Isaiah 30 and 12. And through our jobs and through the knowledge that America's been taught through these religions, people trust and master so much. People trust in America. I can go talk to 8 out of 10 people tomorrow and tell them it's time to leave America. And 12 out of 10 people will tell me no, it's not. And I'm like, I only talked to 8. How did I get 12 people in on this conversation? 12 people are like, no, it ain't. America's the best place to be. That's what you've been taught. Isaiah 30 and 12 says, wherefore thus saith the Holy One of Israel, because ye despise this word. What's this word? We already went over it. Because ye despise this word and trust in oppression and pervertness and stay thereon. So it says, and you trust in your in your oppression. What's your oppression? Master, slave master, American. So you trust in them and you want to stay there and you stay thereon. So instead of reading the scriptures, and the scriptures are telling you to leave, you advise yourself and everybody that we trust in what America is doing and we're going to stay there on. Verse 13. Therefore, since you want to stay there on, therefore, this iniquity shall be to you as a breach ready to fall, swelling out in a high wall, whose breaking cometh suddenly at an instant. So since you want to be there and stay there in America, and you trust in your oppressor, you trust in master, master has tricked you into staying there, it says, the iniquity shall be to you as a breach ready to fall. Breach means you don't know it's coming. So that's like us sitting in this room right now, and then next you know the police break the door down and tell everybody freeze and got guns pointing at everybody's heads. And the thing is, before they breach the room, they know who's in there. So once they breach the room, they'll have a gun at your head, yours, mine, all at once. All at once. Everybody in here, they'll come straight in with guns at everybody's head because they already know what's going on in the room. They're not going to send one gun in here and point it at one head and then allow me to pull my gun out. They're going to come straight in and have a gun at every single head in here. A breach ready to fall so you don't even see it coming. So it says the iniquity shall be to you as a breach ready to fall, whose breaking cometh suddenly at an instant. So it's time to stop believing and trusting in our oppressor. It's time to leave this place. It's time to unplug, get away from his Babylonian ways, and leave. All these traditions that they put out here for us to follow, like the Greekish fashions, those traditions of sports and different things like that, is all from men. Let's close it out with one more scripture. Let's go to Colossians 2 and 8. Colossians 2 and 8. And it reads, beware, lest any man spoil you through philosophy and vain deceit, after the traditions of men, after the rudiments of the world, and not after the Messiah. So it tells you that the traditions of men has ruined this world. And through these traditions, everybody is worshiping the gods of these Grecians and these Romans. But through philosophy, they had mentally put you under a spell to where you don't even know what's going on. You would rather follow the knowledge of man than the knowledge of these scriptures. And that's the error that everybody's going. We would rather go to church, follow the preacher, not even pick up the Bible. We would rather attend these colleges, go to school, get these degrees. They give you a certificate, make you bigger than what you really are, and now you don't even want to follow the Bible. You'd rather follow psychology and science. And that's what we have. So hopefully tonight enlightened some people some more information on how you are plugged into the matrix. All right, we read a few articles from Google that shows you that America enslaved so-called blacks, and when they enslaved them, they pushed the Christian religion on them to teach them how to get away from their customs. All right. We also went over information on how in sports, how they honor Zeus through their religion, they rituals and different things. When they line up in line and put their hand on their chest for the Star-Spangled Banner, that's a oath to Zeus. All right. So all these different things that they've taught us to use and do. It ain't one person in this room that can probably go all week long without a cell phone, without watching TV, or without accessing the computer. So they've taught us, they've done a number on us. I can do it. I know I can do it. I really don't need none of this stuff. Only thing I need my computer for is for my lessons. And phone really for work. And work, when I say work, is my own business. Other than that, I could get away with not using this stuff. And that's what we have to teach ourselves. We have to slowly but surely teach ourselves how to get away from it. So limit yourselves. Get away from TV. A lot of us have cable, paying $130 a month, $120 a month for what? And you watch what? Really? Really? Anybody that has cable, think about it. You're paying how much a month? And how many channels do you really watch? And the sad part about it is the channels that you watch are probably basic channels that you can get on basic TV. Think about it. So there's a lot of ways we can start unplugging ourselves. Start eliminating certain things. So with that in mind, well, let's say Shalom. All praises to the Most High Higher. And we'll pray it out.